Welcome to Seeing This. I'm Mike Ornelas, and today estoy animado to be joined by writer, director, and lead actor Eduardo Machado, whose short film, Sao Paulo, New York, is currently screening at the Holly Shorts Film Festival and examines the life of a young Brazilian musician, navigating college life in the US and the juxtaposition of music and culture abroad and at home. Eduardo, bom tarde, and welcome to the show.
Boa tarde, Mike. How you doing? Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to
Of
hear someone
course.
else introduce my film because I've been doing it so often. It's nice. It's a nice change of pace.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the film. I genuinely had a great time watching the film, and it was an incredible experience. Beautiful film. And this movie is quite autobiographical. It's a story that I think will still resonate with anyone that's ever lived abroad as well. I'm curious, what made you want to make a short about this period in your life? And when was it that you realized you wanted to turn that experience into a film?
First of all, Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the film and choosing to engage with it. You know, a lot of people just watch films casually, but this is a film you really have to engage. So I really appreciate your question. So, growing up in Brazil, we didn't really have all the resources in the world. So we learned how to use the world around us, like our neighborhood, our families, to tell stories. So really, I've been growing up kind of finding the drama in my life. And at that moment, I was in college. I was Felipe. I was the lead character. So I was about to graduate, and this is actually my thesis film in college. And at that time, I was caught in the dilemma: should I stay in New York or should I move back to Sao Paulo? And I think I was so scared of dealing with that dilemma that I think making this film was an excuse to externalize all my insecurities, all my anxieties, and everything I was scared was going to happen, so that I could go through it not alone. I created this whole character that also goes through it, and I involved my whole crew, my family, a crew in Brazil, a crew in New York, and so I had to do it to process this moment of my life.
It's such a vulnerable position to be in to tell anything autobiographical. And when you're writing the script, A, did you always have it envisioned that you would play the lead character? And how do you determine what makes it in the script and what gets left out based on the story you want to tell? What's that vetting process like?
Okay, so obviously, shooting a film about an international student deciding between moving back home or staying and actually shooting those both timelines is a very ambitious project. Like the script was 30 minutes long, it was 30 pages long, the first cut was 31 minutes long. So obviously I had to kill a lot of darlings and leave a lot of it in the editing room, right? But when I think the what I had to do was figure out the emotional thread between both stories. So in New York, you start really happy, you're with all your friends, and things start, decaying. Things start. He's in trouble and he can't get, around. And then in Brazil, it's the opposite. It's he gets there and he feels like he doesn't belong, and then but slowly he gets in touch with his friends and his family, and then it's inversely I'm not a math guy, but like it's like inverse proportions. I don't know, but
Uh-huh.
finding in the edit all the moments that like kind of tell this contrasting parallel was very telling in what I had to leave in the editing room and what I had to say. I think the fact that I played the lead was not only because of limitation, because of budget reasons, obviously, but we used a lot of non-actors. So we used a lot of musicians that are my friends and people, from the New York music scene, from the São Paulo music scene. So I think having the lead actor be someone that knew them really facilitated the whole process. And really, I felt like I was going through it, through the process that Felipe was going through. So really, the Venn diagram between Felipe and me, Felipe and I, is literally a circle. So in Brazil, I had this acting coach, which really helped, externalize and helped me get out of my head because it's really hard to direct from the inside and to not overthink every little decision. But I think it's a maturing process, like in the editing room, not judging yourself, and trying to see yourself as this other human being and not being like cringed out all the time, you know?
As someone that edits this show, I can understand the whole cringe aspect of seeing
Yeah.
yourself, listening to yourself again. So I
At
totally
this
get
point,
that.
I bet you're used to it, no?
Yeah, I mean, you could, like kind of what you're alluding to is I've almost looked at it as a bit of a character, as a separation, and you
Mm,
just do get used to it, and it's a necessity if you want to accomplish your goal. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I
No
completely
time
can
to worry.
relate. No time to worry. If you want something
Yeah.
done, just push through. At the
Yeah.
root of this
True.
film, it's really about belonging, navigating the international student dynamic, and oftentimes the whole theme of the grass is greener on the other side. You know what I mean? And you spoke to kind of the rhythms of the film, and though I'm obviously not from Brazil, it felt like home when we get to that point in the movie. And I'm just curious, if you can open up about what were the things you missed most about Sao Paulo when you were studying in New York? And on the flip side, what are things that you miss about New York?
Hmm. You say you're not from Brazil, but you have the Caetano Tropicalia right behind you and the Galáxia Tropical. So you know a little bit of Brazil.
A little bit,
A little bit. So the music is something I miss from São Paulo, obviously. And anyone that studies abroad, it's always, the family, the friends, the loved ones, and the food. Honestly, the food is a
oh
big
yeah.
one because I love vegetables like salad, like feijoada, like good
Mm,
meat. Like can't really
hmm.
find all these like this freshness in New York, and it's something I really, really, really miss. But it's also in contrast, it's also like a weird feeling when you go back home to see all your loved ones and you see that now they're living, all my childhood friends, they're living all this other life, and it's like you're not part of it, but you want to be, but like your life is so
Right.
different, so it's like such a weird feeling. But when I'm in São Paulo, it's I feel like New York is just one of those places where it's really intense, and then when you're there, like, for a few months, you're like, "I have to get out of here, like, I have to, like, relax," you know? And then you get out of there, and for the first week, it's fine, and then you're like, "Oh my god, I need to go back, I wanna go back to New York," you know? It's like you miss this, like, energy that's around, this rhythm that you can only find in New York, like grabbing the subway and doing 7 things in a day, seeing all your friends all over New York, and it's a big city, but it's such a small town as well, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone's so talented, and, to enjoy New York is what I miss the most, the spirit, you know?
100%. 100%. Yeah. I've had the fortune to visit Brazil and Rio, Sao Paulo, and a couple other places as well. And I completely agree regarding the music and the food. I tried making
Mhm.
feijoada here at home. Did not turn out the same. It
No?
did not turn out the
It's
same.
hard
No,
it's
no, no.
hard, it's really yeah, it's really, really tough one to make. But thank you for trying.
Of course, of course. I don't think I had a salad for like a week while I was in Brazil. There was definitely like a carnivore and bean diet, which
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
complaining. It was
Oh,
wonderful.
yeah.
It was
I
wonderful.
like the salad steak combo,
Yeah, right.
like,
Right,
you
right.
know
You feel good about it. Yeah.
and then farofa, I don't know if you had farofa,
Yeah.
but some Americans say it's like sand, and I hate
Mm.
it when they say it's like sand because I love farofa so much, but, I miss farofa. Yeah, that's
I
the
just
thing.
talking with you, I'm ready to jump on a plane and go back just for the food. It was incredible.
Yes,
It was
you
incredible.
should, you should.
Well, speaking of which, you had to jump on the plane quite a bit to make this film, saying you had a crew in Sao Paulo, you had
Mhm,
a crew in New York. I'd love to hear just what were some of the like unique filming challenges to each
mhm.
location? What are some obstacles you ran into?
It was really challenging, and in retrospect, I think that if I knew it was gonna be this hard, I maybe wouldn't have done it. But I think this
Oh
is the
wow.
ignorance is bliss moment where you're like, "Let's
Right.
just make this film," and then you take one obstacle at a time because you don't know they're coming, you know? Um, so I had a crew in Brazil and a crew in New York. They were completely different. Not even like I was the only mutual person like between both places. It was really hard to do pre-production and do locations in Brazil, but thankfully I spent winter in the northern hemisphere, summer in the southern hemisphere. So I
Okay,
spent
yeah.
New York winter, São Paulo summer, in Sao Paulo. So I could scout locations, I could, meet some people in the music scene and get my crew together. So I had that time of pre-production. And then I actually shot it during spring break. So I went back to college and then a pre-production, went back on spring break, shot the whole film, and then came back and shot New York. And the New York section had to speak with the Sao Paulo section. So it was a lot of like trying to match the language, because the film has a really specific like camera movements and cinematic language that we didn't want to lose in translation. I think the most unique thing I felt with this production was a cultural shock with your own country, with my own
Sure.
country, because I went to school in the US, so I learned how to work on sets the American way, and treatments and scripts, and they do it differently there. So it was very interesting to feel this cultural shock in my own country and have to learn like the way they do it, the way we do it, but I didn't know the way, we did it. So it was a lot of sitting down with my crew and then kind of teaching me the ropes and kind of very patiently um, getting used to the process.
I absolutely love, I mean, if you can't tell already, I love Brazilian culture. I love Brazilian films. And I feel like your film balances that juxtaposition of
Mhm.
Brazil and American technique, both from
Mhm.
a filmmaking standpoint and a cultural standpoint. So I'm just curious, are there filmmakers that you fell in love with or inspired you, either from Brazil or the US, that has an influence on the way you approach filmmaking?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great question because I was influenced by American media so much growing up, which is actually one of the things that the film talks about is ideas of success, and if your idea of success is really yours. And I feel like by consuming so much American media, I felt like I had to go to New York, I had to go abroad to make it. And so growing up, all my favorite directors were American. But when I landed in New York and when I had to introduce myself in class, it would always be, oh, I'm Brazilian. I'm Brazil. I would always, this is my identity in New York. In Brazil, you're yourself, but in New York, you're Brazilian. So it was when I went to New York that I started to really enjoy Brazilian cinema, and it's a great time to enjoy Brazilian cinema. We just had I'm Still Here and Secret Agent. I love Kleber Mendonça Filho. He's a great director. Obviously, love City of God, Central Station. Right now, it's a great time because there was also Manas. There was the Blue Trail. We're making a lot of moves. Wagner Moura is like a superstar now. I mean, he's always been, but now he did Civil War, and
To
now
the
everyone
masses. Yeah.
to the masses. Yeah. So I think uh, a big influence for me was cinema de fluxo, which translates to flow cinema. So um, this film Araby or Hidden Tiger or lower films that really kind of capture this kind of slow revealing of a scene, and they're really patient and they really ask for the audience to engage. I really like this. I'm really asking you to engage in the film, 'cause or else you're gonna find it boring. But if you're there and experiencing it, then, like, you're fully there. But American directors, I think one big influence was, Robert Altman. He does a
Oh,
lot of,
sure.
overlapping dialogue and, it's not improvised, it's actually really rehearsed, but it feels improvised because of how communal it feels. And so I really wanted to capture that energy and kind of a naturalistic flow of time, the naturalistic way people talk and people talking over each other. And what you're seeing on screen is not necessarily what you're hearing. Like you're hearing the guy that's talking over there, but the camera takes a while to get there. I
Mhm,
think
mhm.
very nice thing that I learned from him, and I think he's always gonna be one of my references. So yeah, it's the long-winded explanation of my influences.
No, I absolutely love that. I mean, to be quite honest with you, full transparency, within the first few minutes of your film, you can feel that there's well thought out technique. It still feels organic. It doesn't feel like you're giving a lot of effort. Obviously, there's a lot of effort, but it feels effortless. Maybe that's what I should say.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And by the end of the film, having seen both locations, in New York and Sao Paulo, specifically when we spend time in Brazil, I immediately was transported to these films of like a Walter Salles or like these different filmmakers
Yes.
that it feels so grounded, but with exquisite penmanship. I don't know. That doesn't make sense, but I hope I
That
hope it does.
that makes more sense than you can think of because one of my I'm sorry to get all like, film bro, but one of my big influences are the French New Wave directors, and they talk a lot about the penmanship of the flow of a film, the camera stilo, and like how it's like writing. It's really like writing, and so that's yeah. You like hit bullseye with that sentence. Yeah, thank you.
I really enjoyed watching this. And I'm curious, you're talking about the various things you have to plan for, pre-production, different locations, your writer, director, acting.
Hmm.
How do you do it wearing so many hats, at such a young age, such a early stage of your filmmaking career? Is there a way you kind of manage each thing? And do you prefer one aspect of filmmaking over another?
I definitely think acting is not my main thing.
Mm,
So I'll start with that, and it's a relief that my next films I'm not gonna play lead or or anything. But I think for me, filmmaking has always risen out of necessity. Like I need to tell this story, I need to get this out or process this feeling, and so it's not because I wanna wear all these hats, it's because I need to. Maybe because, I don't have, another producer that will do the job for me, but I'm so passionate about this story, and I really need to really like, I feel it in my bones that I need to make this, so I will do whatever it takes, even if I need to do the score, if I nee even if I need to edit. I also edited Sao Paulo, New York, which was tough. It was very tough seeing myself, but, so it's just necessity, and I think if you're passionate enough about an idea, you're gonna find a way to do it. And often at this age, at this stage, you're not gonna have all the producers in the world, all the money in the world, so you're gonna have to learn multiple things, and you're gonna have to just do everything you can to get the idea out. So
yeah.
I don't really manage. It was the lines between things for me are blurry because when I'm writing, I'm also directing. When I'm editing, I'm also directing and writing because I'm rewriting in the edit. So it's all kind of blurry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. And is there like between being a director, writing, editing, if I mean obviously you can do multiple different aspects, but is there one that you feel you really grab? It sounds like maybe writing, like the
I
need to
love
write the
writing
story
and
to the ground.
directing. I feel like I'm really passionate about getting the vision from your mind to the paper and then
Yeah,
executing it. So I would
yeah.
say writer director is my main thing. If I had to pick between writing and directing, then that's really hard. I hope I don't have to.
Right.
But if the script is really good, I'll direct it. And if
Sure.
someone guarantees that some of my writing will get made into a film, then I'll let someone else direct it. But
Sure.
I
Sure.
like writing my own material.
I love that. There seems to be a delicate dance between music and film in Brazil, within the culture, within its people.
Yeah.
And this film is also, heavily influenced or discussing themes about music, the type of music, the passion of music making, things of this nature. Can you elaborate on why both music and film, these mediums of the art form, are so impactful and important to Brazilians?
This is a really good question because I think from an early age I understood this connect between film and music. So all my films are basically films about music in some way. In college, I also studied music alongside film. So it was always something that I'm spiritually connected to. And I think in Brazil specifically, it's a very spiritual thing. Music, samba, bossa nova, funky, all these genres, they're very communal. They connect people. I think a lot of music can be alienating and a lot of music can be the opposite of alienating, which would be a connector, like a human connector, you know?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I love seeing this happen with Brazilian music, like when it's Carnaval and everyone's on the street and singing the same songs, you know? I think that's amazing, and also copyright is not like a big thing in Brazil. So, for example, Caetano, who's right behind you, will write a song, and then Gal Costa will cover it, and then Marisa Monte will cover it, and it's just like a big like friend group of people
Yeah.
doing versions of the same song, but no one is mad at each other. You know, it's all love, and it's all like for the love of the music and the art, and it's all spiritual. It's all like, you know, it all comes from the inside. And I think with film, if I could capture this magic of film, you know, if I can capture also a musician playing something live, I think that's the most special thing you can make, because in the moment where a character in a film is playing an instrument or he's in the zone, what you're capturing is really transcending the script, is really transcending the characters, really transcending the film. Right now, you're capturing a moment in time where this musician was in the zone and he's just speaking like his spirituality through his music, you know? And I think it's beautiful, and I've always wanted to capture that on films, and that's why all my films are about music, and I think they will forever be.
Yeah. I honestly, the scenes where you have music playing and not giving too much away, but like the closing scene that you have with the music playing and the way you're using the camera, it's incredibly impactful. So kudos to you there.
Thank you.
Um, you've been incredible with your time, so I just have a last question that I'd like to ask everyone. You've mentioned a few films in our conversation, but what is a underseen film that you would recommend for people to put on their radar? Something that is either correlated to your film or something completely separate, just something people should check out.
Mm, mm. I think one of my favorite Brazilian films is this film called Araby from 2017. I'm forgetting the name of the director, which is a big sin, but its style, it's very heartfelt, and it's the story of a Brazilian factory worker, and the film is so well
Mm,
constructed, and it's so unique in so many ways, and it's just the language he created to tell the story. It's like innovative in many ways, but it's also comes from a place of deep authenticity, you know? I think a lot of films are trying to create trying to it's like a symbol of an authentic thing, you know?
mhm.
And I think his film is really trying to capture an authentic thing, like, first, you know, not trying to have people pretend it's an authentic thing. It's trying to capture the authentic. And I think that's a sentiment that I have tried with this film, and a sentiment that I will carry for the rest of all my films.
Yeah. Well, you can be forgiven because it was two directors and co-written by João Dumans and Afonso Uchoa. Yeah, yeah, I definitely add that to the top of my watch list. I always tell folks, what are films you want to recommend for people, the audience to see, but it's selfishly for me, movies I need to check out. So
Mhm.
I appreciate that. The film is Sao Paulo, New York. Director, writer, and actor Eduardo Machado. Short film currently playing at the Holly Shorts Film Festival in Los Angeles. If you're in the area, definitely check that out. Eduardo, how can people keep up with you, the film, anything else you'd like to plug?
Yes, people can keep up with the film on Instagram. It's São Paulo, New York Film, and also my personal Instagram. It's DUT dot MAC, like Dutch Mac. And I have a lot of upcoming projects coming up, so it's all the same vibe, same musical vibe, coming of age vibe. So if you like the film, uh, check check my future projects out. And thank you so much, Mike. It was lovely to be here and have this conversation with you.
Absolutely. I genuinely enjoyed your film. And as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of Brazilian films
Mhm.
in general. And, to be quite honest, I'm not just saying this because you're there. You belong amongst the ranks of those feature films. And I look forward to your future projects as well. So, Eduardo Machado, thank you so much for your time and best of luck with everything
You're
moving
so
forward.
kind, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you for like take these are all questions that like you had to take your time to understand the movie to make them and to watch and think. So I really appreciate that. You know, it wasn't just like a what I like. Oh, you know how some
Sure.
of these interviews like can go really. So I
I can
really
only imagine, especially, having to set up interviews and you may not know the full context of someone's background or perspective or anything, but I look at it as a treat, I don't to be quite honest with you, I get a lot of different requests, especially with the Shorts Film Festival taking
yeah.
place. And there's just so many films I can't possibly talk with everyone. So I talk to folks where I genuinely enjoy the project. I
Mhm.
want to learn more. And more often than not, they're incredible people like yourself that just have seamless conversations. So
Mhm.
I appreciate it. I appreciate
Mhm.
it.
Thank you so much, man. It's been lovely.